When you went to the Los Angeles org, and until you left the Los Angeles org, did you have any other occasion to put on a minister's clerical collar outside that one time when you were told to go down and hold a press conference after the FBI raid?
Objection as to form.
Before the 1977 raid?
Well, let's start there. Before the 1977 raid, were you ever instructed to wear a minister's collar?
Objection as to form.
There were a couple of occasions, yes.
All right. On what occasions were you instructed to wear a collar?
When I held a press conference in San Francisco in 1970, possibly 72, for example.
And what was the reason for that?
Well, the story being given, but the idea being that if there was a photograph taken, you could see that I was a minister.
Move to strike.
Was this before or after you had the minister's course?
After.
Okay. And did you ever perform any religious ceremonies or functions as a minister after you passed the minister's course?
Objection for.
I married somebody once.
Okay. Anything else?
If you want to call giving Sunday service religious, I gave a couple of Sunday services.
And to whom did you give a couple of Sunday services to?
People that were invited who showed up.
And who were invited to show up for that?
What we called the field, which is general public, that we promoted to, that there were these Sunday services.
Okay. Was this part of any type of program in Scientology to promote Sunday services to the general public?
Objection as to the form.
It was part of the religious image program.
Is that the one we talked about before?
Objection as to the form.
And this Sunday service, that the few that you participated in, what room was that located in at the San Francisco org?
It was just held in a large empty course room on a Sunday.
And what happened to this room after the Sunday service?
Objection as to the form.
Then it went back to being a course room.
Before the program came out from Los Angeles about the religious image program, were Sunday services held anywhere on the San Francisco org property?
Objection as to the form.
No. Could I just take a couple of minutes break?
Sure.
Just need a couple of minutes just to stretch my legs.
Sure, go ahead. It's
It's 2:32. We're back on the record.
Ken, I've got an objection. In the break, Mr. Young was outside talking to Mr. Prince and his ex-wife, Ms. Brooks, about his testimony. They were trying to give him instructions, and he was trying to get a word to you as to how you could change your the way in which you were questioning him. It is absolutely improper. It is outrageous. You could not do that during a trial. Witness can't be out there talking to other witnesses during a trial. We moved to them. We're going to move to strike his entire testimony after this. It's just completely and utterly ridiculous as to what's going on here, and it completely abominates the process. You've moved on an expedited basis to take trial testimony, and then he is and your side is engaged in what would be absolutely forbidden at trial. So
are you a personal witness to this?
Yeah, walk outside to go get some water. They're standing right outside the door there talking about it. And then, let the record reflect, they came in, talked to you, then you went outside, and there were and further things, and it's just with Vaughn Young, and it's just wrong.
And I talked about trial testimony?
I don't know what you talked to Vaughn Young about. All I know is that I walked outside to get some water, and all I can see is Vaughn Young talking to Jesse Prince and his ex-wife Stacy about his trial testimony, and that is improper.
Did you hear what they were talking about?
Yes, I did.
What did they say?
What they were talking about, and then I went on, was the way in which you were questioning and the way in which the answers were coming out. They weren't coming out the way that they wanted and he wanted.
What did you specifically hear, Mr. Weinberg?
Well, that's what I heard, and that is improper, and it's ridiculous, and I moved to strike his testimony, and it is further evidence of really the violations that are going on here, and further prejudice to us, because you couldn't do this in a trial.
I'll add, just to make the record complete. I went up during the break, which Mr. Young said purportedly was because he needed to walk around for a moment, or some words to that effect. The record will reflect it. And I went towards the men's room. And as I went towards the men's room in a straight line, I went past Mr. Young and Stacy, his ex-wife, and I heard her saying the way the questions are asked. I heard that phrase. It was said loud enough so that it could be heard by me in passing. I also heard you, after you came back into the room, say from across the room, "I'll have to ask why," which I understood to be as a result of your conference. I'm inferring this, but I heard you utter the phrase, "I have to ask why," indicating perhaps some adjustment in the way questions are going to be framed. And I think one of the remedies here, we're preserving our right to strike, but I think one of the remedies is that your other so-called witnesses here, Mr. Young and Ms. Brooks, should be Mr. Prince and Stacy Young Brooks, whatever she calls herself these days, should be excluded.
Come on.
They should be excluded.
You don't know what her name is.
What are we supposed to do?
We're going to invoke the rule. We're invoking the rule against witnesses, and we're either because it applies in any event, or because of the circumstances that we've elicited on this record.
Where's my pad?
And they shouldn't be in this room if this is what's going to go on. Because you're subverting the process.
Mr. Young, were you asked to wear
Do you
the
deny
clerical...
that those conversations went on out there about his testimony?
Yes. Mr. Young.
Well, you weren't there. How would you know?
Then why did you ask me the question?
Well, I'm making a point.
Why did you
I
ask
got
me the
no
question?
response from you. I mean, do you think that this is a pro? Do you
Your
think it's
point is so preposterous,
Do you think it's appropriate that your witness is talking to Stacy and to Jesse Prince about his testimony while the testimony is going on? Do you think that's appropriate?
Stacy Brooks
Yes or no?
had to leave, and they're not talking about testimony.
But they were. I'm not asking, do you think it's appropriate that your witness is talking to Jesse Prince and Stacy about his testimony during his testimony? Is that appropriate?
No, of course not. Fine. She was leaving, and as I understand, she was saying goodbye, and she left.
Well, it didn't happen that way, but at least you've acknowledged that it's not appropriate. So maybe Mr. Young will learn from that.
Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay. Besides the one or two Sunday services that you put on with the clerical collar while you were at the San Francisco org, before the FBI raid, did you wear your clerical collar at any other time?
Objection is to form. Also, objection because it's been asked and answered.
And a press conference that I gave in San Francisco.
Okay. What was the press conference about?
Objection, asked and answered.
In order to get a story about the IRS and to make it appear that we were in church.
And after the FBI raid in Los Angeles, did you ever wear the clerical collar?
In the rest of his life is what you're asking?
In Los Angeles.
I don't remember wearing it again. If I did, it would be only once, but I don't remember any other occasions after July 1977.
Did the program from Los Angeles on religious image, when you were in San Francisco, did that come out at about the same time that exhibit number 1 came out from Mr. Hubbard entitled Religion, which we previously talked about.
Objection as to the form. If you want to ask him what it's leading, you want to ask him when it came out,
Okay, I'll
you
do
can make
that.
your argument later.
I'll do that.